Traditionally, the church held that the epistle to the Ephesians is written by Paul. But in the recent years, the New Testament scholars have found the liberty to question such traditional conclusion. Today, this epistle is considered generally as a non-Pauline writing. According to Marcus Barth, there are 4 schools of thought on the issue of authorship prevalent today. Those who accept Paul as the author, those who see Paul as responsible for an original script that has been augmented or edited by a redactor later on, those who reject Pauline authorship, and those who think that there is not enough evidence for us to conclude anything. Scholars in recent years have adduced arguments to the non-Pauline authorship. Some of them have argued that, number one, the theology of the Ephesians is said to be such that we cannot ascribe it to Paul, for they are so different from Paul's own thoughts in the undisputed letters. Though in Ephesians we see the Pauline trademark, justification by faith, yet there are some other theological positions which cannot be ascribed to Paul. For example, the cosmic function of the church in chapter 3 verse 10, or believers are built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, which nowhere else in Paul's writing you find that evidence, chapter 2 verse 20. Whereas in other letters of Paul, Christ is the foundation and not the apostles and prophets. In Ephesians, ecclesia always refers to the universal church, whereas Paul normally uses the word for the local congregations in his other letters. There are several other differences that scholars have pointed out to argue for the non-Pauline authorship of this letter. Number one, the language of Ephesians includes words that are not found in Paul's undisputed letters. Number two, the style of the letter is very different. In this letter, sentences are very long and we find a quick use of synonyms repeatedly done while saying certain things. Number three, it shows early Catholic writing characteristics, with author looking back to the apostles as a closed group, chapter 2 verse 20, chapter 3 verse 5, and that there is an un-Pauline interest in various orders of ministries in chapter 4 verse 11. Number 4, in relation to Colossians, many have argued that both may not have originated from the same man, which is debatable. These arguments laid do not seem to be persuasive due to its subjective nature and also in the light of the external evidences. Scholars who argue in favor of Pauline authorship have argued strongly based on following evidences. Number one, the epistle itself makes clear claim of Pauline origin. Chapter 1 verse 1, chapter 3 verse 11. Several personal notes like in chapter 1 verse 15 and 16, chapter 3 verse 1, chapter 4 verse 1, chapter 6 verses 19 and 20 attest the fact that the writer had personal relation with the readers. Number 2, early circulation and the undoubted authenticity for long time in the history of the church attests its Pauline authorship. Number 3, the relationship to Colossians may be argued in more than one ways against those who reject the Pauline authorship. Those who see Paul as the author are equally emphatic that the two minds could not have produced two such works with such subtle part of Colossians as a development of it. Number 4, excess spread of pseudonymity in the early church is doubtful, as many have held. Number 5, many of the themes of Ephesians have the closest parallels in the undisputed Pauline epistles. For example, justification by faith, the place of grace, the place of Jews and the law. Those who oppose Pauline authorship argue that this results from imitation. Number 6, apart from all these, the external support for Paul's authorship is significant. Early church fathers like Ignatius, Polycarp, and others have clearly echoed Ephesians in their writings. Since Marcion's time, Ephesians has been an uncontested part of the canon of the Pauline letters. In the light of these arguments, it is difficult to accept non-Pauline origin of the epistle, but the Pauline origin seems to be convincing, but it has its own problems. Hence, in the scholarly circles, scholars have preferred to limit the undisputed letters of Paul into 7, in which Ephesians, Colossians are not included. So, Ephesians may be termed as a disputed letter of Paul, and arguments from both sides might be many, but not conclusive. What must be the date and the place that we accord to this letter? The letter speaks of Paul as in prison, chapter 3 verse 1 and chapter 4 verse 1. This is usually taken to refer to his imprisonment in Rome due to its association with Philemon and Colossians. We would date it in early 60s. This date is maintained by many scholars, and those who reject Pauline authorship usually date Ephesians in the period of AD 70 to 90, the period during which Pauline letters are thought to have been collected. If assumed that it is non-Pauline, still it cannot be dated later than AD 96, for by now Clement of Rome had used this letter in his writing. What must have been the purpose of Paul in writing this letter? Carson rightly enumerates different opinions expressed as some point to the possible tension between Jew and Gentile Christians, and think Paul is trying to secure unity through this letter. Another suggestion is that the letter is meant to instruct Gentile converts in important aspects of their new faith. Some who date the writing later than Paul propose that it was written to favor the ecclesiastical interest of the early Catholicism. Others have suggested that it is an attempt to set out some of the greatest truths for which the early Christians stood. This disagreement over the purpose of the epistle is the direct result of the lack of hint about the situation in which this epistle is composed. We know that Ephesians is one of the least situationally rooted letter of Paul, since there is no much reference to the immediate context which gave birth to this letter. It becomes really difficult for us to decide the purpose with which Paul must have been writing this letter. This does not mean that the letter fails to address the real interest and problems faced by its readers, but Ephesians simply does not have the same sense of urgency and response to crisis as do the apostles' other letters seem to have. Thus, various proposals for writing this letter are suggested, but they remain tentative, and we will be finding it difficult to anchor them into particular life situation of the church in Ephesus. The basic material that we discuss in this video point out that Paul must have written it, or Paul may have written it, although there are counter arguments contesting Paul's authorship. If Paul wrote it, it must have been written along with Colossians in the first half of the 7th decade while he was imprisoned in Rome, and Paul is repeating almost a lot of things that he has already mentioned in Colossians. Although this letter is situationally less rooted, the letter is important, for here we find a lot of developed theological thoughts of Paul present in his earlier letters in seed form. So, the letter to Ephesians is important, but must be understood in relation to Colossians, and in relation to its background, it must be tied up with Philemon. Thank you.